Hello, it is me again. I think some of you might have this uh, ideas, this thoughts to come to China, maybe traveling here or maybe working here. So I'm gonna show you some little tips that you're going to need when you stay in China. All right. So I think there's some basic uh, Chinese you guys might need to learn. I'm not talking about those complicated things. You're not going to a meeting that you have to talk Chinese. So you need to go through training, which is another perspective. What I'm talking here is some basic things, three or four sentences that everyone need to know at the beginning of your life. Everybody started learning language like hello, thank you, things like that. So let's say you got off the plane, you arrived in Beijing or Shanghai, major cities, center of China. Basically, it's the name of China actually. So you probably gonna landing there first because you want to see what kind of city that China have. So when you're landing in Shanghai and Beijing, you possibly about to be shocked because as a major modern city, it has a lot of people. You can see a lot of us around everywhere, which also means so who is watching? You can type. Oh, if anyone's want to ask any questions, feel free. I'll do my best to answer them. So so let's say in the airport, you are going to need a taxi to go to the hotel. All right. So but you don't know how. So you're probably going to need to ask someone where you can get a taxi. So what the first sentence you gotta see when you see someone for the very first time? It's gotta be hello, right? So you can't just merely say hello to any really Chinese because even though they understand, they don't know how to answer them. So if you want to say hello to someone, say 你好. Just two characters, very simple. Just simply say 你好. Since they know you're friendly, they're gonna talk to you, and you gotta have a very good conversation. This is a beginning of it. Then, if you ask someone, no matter how you do it, using a translation app, or you speak a little Chinese, or even you speak English. I mean, in Shanghai and Beijing, there are a lot of Chinese who are very good English speakers. So they possibly can understand you and they can answer your question. And then what you gonna say? You gotta say thank you, right? Of course, you can just simply say thank you, but if you say it in Chinese, it might surprise somebody. All right. So thank you in Chinese, that is 谢谢. It's still two Chinese characters, very simple. That is 谢谢. No, maybe I'm doing this too a little bit too dramatic. Just do it very normally. Say 谢谢. So that's being polite. All right, and that's also something I think everyone need to know. And this is a very basic, very easy thing. And then here comes to the more something more delicate, more a little bit more difficult. It's not difficult. I mean, just basic Chinese. Um, we always can say please By the way, please in Chinese is 请, but we don't use it at the end of the sentence like what foreigners do. All right, we use it at the beginning of the sentence. For example, can I have some water, please? It is like a it is like a question, but it translates to Chinese. We have to put please at the beginning of the sentence, like 请给我一些水好吗? So that's how you use it, but that's more that's also basic, but you don't really need it. You don't really need to learn it. As a single word, it doesn't really work. It works with sentence. So how to get a taxi in China? That's well basically the same. I guess because I've never been in any other countries. That's basically the same. What do you do in your own country? I suppose just raise your hand, and when a taxi sees you, you're gonna stop, and you get into the back of the car, and you just tell the driver where you want to go. So the thing about taxi in China is we have this very useful system. One thing you gotta know is there are many things doesn't really work in China because we have our own version, such as Uber. We do not really use Uber in China. Instead, we use another app called Didi. Yes, it's just DI and DI. So very it's a very simple app. It works basically just like just like Uber, maybe even easier. I've never used Uber before. So you see so I think before you have your travel in here, you have downloaded a few apps you probably possibly need when you're in while you're in China. DD is one of them, and of course, I think you're gonna need a map app, like because in a normal situation, Google service doesn't really work in China except Google Translation. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they didn't really discuss it. I don't know, but just be. I think you should be really prepared. Uh, I mean, there's a lot of situations can going on when you're traveling around and in different countries. So be prepared. There's never a saying there's too much preparing. All right, you just do your preparing. I think it will help you someday. So uh, so you took the bus or taxi, and about bus in China. Uh, Nowadays we don't really use cash anymore. All right, so I don't know what you do in your own countries. Maybe there's a lady standing in the head of the bus and take money and give you tickets, things like that. We the people in China, we do not do that in here. All right, we use coins basically. Oh, there's a good question. How to tell them go straight, left, or right? Street in China is 直走. It's street. It's towards 直走, and go to left is 左转. It's left, 左转, and right is 右转。So if you're gonna tell the driver how to go straight, go left or go right, just said if you let's say you wanna go straight first and go left and go right, then you can say let's 请先直走，再左转，再右转。Of course, it depends on how the more accurate situation. But also, you can just show the driver the place you want to go, and yeah, I actually am. Normally Chinese, do not uh, as fat as me. I ate too much. I have my own problems, but yeah, that's when you came in here, you gotta figure it out. So you can always show the drivers where you wanna go. Then most of the times they're gonna recognize the place. Of course, you gotta show them in Chinese. So I think that's not like a major problem. Yeah. Well, I'm not that. Well, that's. Well, you see, I am fat, of course, but I'm not like that fat. See, those people they are not, and most of them are short life. They don't get to live long. I don't know. I don't want to be a sumo wrestler. Come on, I'm actually trying to get thinner. All right. So where were we? Oh, restaurant. If if you head into a restaurant, yeah, depends on your username. I believe that's true. Princess every day. Do you make videos as well? What kind of videos you're making? I might check that out with my personal account. Anyway, uh, all right, you head into the restaurant. Maybe you search to the place, and you're trying to order some food or something. So, uh, the first thing you gotta do, well, that's very good for you. That's great. But I think I can never be that same, because my bones possibly heavier than that. So you hit your restaurant and you sit down, and the waiter or the waitress coming on. Well, that's basically the normal perspective you're going to have because I think that works everywhere. But sometimes it could be a little bit different because, as I said, we don't use cash anymore. We basically do not use any cash. And of course, nowadays we basically do everything with our phone, with WeChat and Alipay. So how much house costs in China? Are you talking about are you talking about uh, like renting a house in China, or you're actually gonna buy a house in China? Because I don't really understand. It's just two different situations, So in some places in China, you're gonna have to they will not like waiter you. All right. So waiter might come and show you the QR code. And no, cheap more lunch. Nothing cheap more luxury. So you think about. I'm still asking you to if you want to buy a house in China or renting a house in China, because there are still two different things. You have to be more specific, I think. So uh yeah. If you talk about mortgage, that means you're actually gonna buy a house in China. I don't really have that kind of information, but I highly suggest you not to because the house price in China is like crazy right now. So of course, if you're trying to live in here, that's that's different. So I suggest you just rent a house in China. Don't really buy it. I don't know how it really works, but the price in China is actually very high. So, all right, you're a rich family. Well, all right. Let's see. Like a good house in China. A very good house in China can be 6 or to 8 million RMB. So that's you can do that math. So it's about $1 or $2 million, like a house. I actually think you're lying, but anyway, you had you got your head. Yeah, I told you that. That's the house prices in China is crazy right now. That's their main. This is how they get taxes. All right. So yeah, if you talk about the luxury, all right, the luxury things, you're talking about like a house outside the city or in the middle of the city. All right. So I mean, you were buying a building or something. If you're buying a flat, that could be more like cheaper. Yeah, yeah. Then you gotta spend more money, girl. That's how it is. There's nothing cheap. There's no, luxury, cheap luxury things. So these two words just too complex. Just it just doesn't work together. So all right, let me finish that restaurant thing. All right, restaurant. You guys gonna know is sometimes you go into a restaurant, the waiter will not come in here and order the food for you. All right. So what you gonna do is to download a WeChat app. It's basically like WhatsApp in America, I believe. It's a chatting. Is a chatting, communicating app. You possibly heard it because uh, it actually works in all around the world. I talk to my cousin in Canada. I use WeChat to talk with her. So uh, they're gonna ask you to scan the QR code with WeChat, then or Alipay. It depends. Then order the food on your phone. Then pay for it. The order you are making is going directly to the computer. Then they're gonna bring food on your table. It's very when you actually experience it, you how much a luxury car? Well, I assume you're talking about the cars that coming from abroad, right? The cars that are made in German and they moved it in China. That means there are a lot of taxes that you need to pay. I guess that's like a luxury car, something big, like Rolls-Royce, things like that. Well, that's I guess it's 1.2 million RMB to 2 million RMB. I guess that's how it is. Maybe even more expensive. I don't know. Because I can't afford any of it. So let's see. Divine six. That's like 20K in dollars. I guess. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, you got me there. I don't really know the answer of that. You can check that. Really. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. Well, clearly we're having a very different life here. I actually got paid to see these things. if I'm rich enough, I won't be doing this. Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying, girl, but I don't I don't have that kind of information. Seriously, I mean, I can search for you. Let's see. Let's see luxury. That means. Push? I think the internet is not working here. Come on. Let me a viewer here, man. I'm working here. Oh, well, I guess just, in your own perspective, cars are actually pretty cheap in China. When you're counting down with dollars, I saw this push almost 1 to 2 million RMB in China. So that's like 40K or 60K in dollars. So that's push. I just search one of them, and I don't know. I don't know others. Maybe BMW a little more expensive, of course, or Rolex. What's the point you're asking for all of this? You're gonna buy a house in China and buy a push in China? I don't know. You have any plans to move in here? Anyway, that's about hot restaurant. You should experience. You should have a experience to that because that's very easy. Because I think it's very easy and it's quite funny. You can just continue your conversation with your partners, and in the same time ordering food. You don't have to just specially stop and tell the waiter what you need. But most of the restaurants, I said BMW could be a little more expensive. I don't know. I was searching Porsche. I don't really know nothing about cars. Come on, do me a solid here. You can laugh at me all you want, but that doesn't change the fact that I don't know anything about cars. As a matter of fact, I just got my driver license like literally a month ago. So, uh, that's restaurant. What? So who are you anyway? Thank you for saying that. Um, Restaurant. I don't know if you guys doing this in here, but this is how it works in here. One thing you need to know about China is basically we do everything uh, with a phone. Now, can I talk that later? BMW, huh? So normal BMW, to my acknowledge, a little bit a little bit cheaper than push, but I don't know how about the high level stuff. But let's see. I'm going to buy a car someday, so let's uh, let's see. Are you talking about an SUV or V? All right, what is it? What is it? It's a little. Oh, well, I think BMW's SUV is a little bit more cheaper than push. So that's about you know it's just 20 or 30K in RMB. So that could be a little more. Uh, it could be cheaper if you use dollar to count it. So it's not horrible. I mean, if you drove one of those, I guess it's not horrible. These are actually very good cars in China, because we don't really do uh, You're under 18 years old, ain't you? You want to be treated like a royalty? Then you should go to England. All right, you can buy all the like true royalty stuff in there. You just choose your own place. We do not do things like that. All right. Of course, if you're super rich, I mean, if you're super rich, you can customize everything you want. That could be, you know, really expensive. I don't know. That's really out my range. I'm going back to talk about the topic I was going to say because I'm about to forget all of them. I'm extremely nervous now. Well, that's I think you're just taking a piss, but hey, I think I think pounds are actually more expensive than dollars. They're worth more money, I guess, but I'm not sure because I don't really know. So, where were we? One thing we need to know, you need to know before you came to China is that we basically do everything with our phone. We pay with our phone, we play with our phone. Uh, so we do not use cash anymore. We don't really use credit cards or debit card to That's true. That's true. Yeah, but can I just finish my sentence and maybe I try something else? We don't really, like I said, we don't really use credit cards or debit cards in here nowadays. We don't really use cash. We don't even take cash with us. So that means we don't really use wallet. But we do carry our ID and driver license everywhere. That's. Well, I gotta tell you that is not right because all right, tell you a true story. Like maybe a year ago, I wanted that kind of life, you know. So I borrowed a lot of money. And nowadays these steps they gonna eat half of my salary every month. So my days are getting very tough. Don't do that. How much money you're making or how much money you can get, then live that kind of life. It's not a shame, but it's definitely not an honor to just pretend to be rich. That's stupid. All right. So how it takes? So I don't understand what you're saying. I'm a little bit confused. Are you asking me my salary or what? I don't know. All right, I make because I only started my working in here, so I got my salary is 3,000 yuan per month. So yeah, that's 1,500 yuan per month. That's half of my salary, and I have to live alone in this place. I have to pay my rent. Can you imagine how what kind of life I'm living right now? I'm not complaining anything. All right, I cost all of it. So I don't have to. Well, in the future, there's definitely I will make more salary, but not now because I just graduated from college, and I just started to working in the society. I mean, I do part-time jobs before, but this is like the real full-time job I'm doing right now. So I think that's a little bit that's a little bit different. Accomplishment? Did I say anything? All right. So even you go to the hospital, some hospital, you still need to get into the line and pay for your medicine or something. But oh, college. That was yeah. Well, you see nowadays, 75% of Chinese high school students they get to go to some sort of college, you know. So basically nowadays everyone in my age, they're basically college students. What we're doing here is we let a lot of people in, and no, it's not a college debate. That was that was kind of a shame. It was not a college debate. We don't have the saying as college debate because after all, I think I'm some sort of middle class. All right, so I'm not poor. My family is not like poor or something. What I'm saying is I was wanting these incredible things, you know. Yeah. Me personally, I'm poor, all right, but my family is not. That's what I'm saying, all right. I came from middle class. I am poor, but my family is not, and I do not want them to spoil me. To spoil me. That's the reason why why my life is getting a little bit tough in here because I want to live my own life. I don't want them to point a finger on me. That's what parents do. Yeah, that. But cars and houses on debt. That's normal because it gotta take you like 30 or 40 years to repay all of them. That's normal. That's called mortgage. All right. But if your family is living their life with the money I mean, like if your family is borrowing money all the time, that's abnormal. That's sick, you know. Well, princess, that's basically the real life. I mean, yeah, if your parents are good enough, they left you a house or they give you a car, then you don't have mortgage on your back. Then you don't have to work 30 or 40 years. All your family are super rich, then you don't have to work at all. But if you come from a middle class, if you're a normal person, at the end, you still need to work. I don't know how old are you, but I assume you're like 18 or like 20 years old, still in college, things like that. All right, then say it. Maybe I'll try it someday. But you see, so in the hospital, you know, possibly, maybe I'm not saying definitely. Yeah, 40 hours. Well, that's very funny of you, I think. That's not how it works, Princess. There's only 24 hours a day. And I need my own time to do some other things, you know? All right, let's just finish this hospital things because I don't, because I've been in Czechia for so long. It's not a Czechia time there. So, uh, me personally, I'm a very healthy person, so I don't really go to hospital. But in case you need to go to hospital, uh, there are a few things you possibly gonna need to know. First thing is you gonna need you're gonna need like uh, the best you can do. You possibly need a Chinese friend, all right, to go with you because a disease, what kind of disease you had, or you know, it's very hard to talk to the doctors if you don't know any Chinese, you know. That's basically what I do in here. All right, that's basically what I do in here. Of course, mostly I work at night because this is a school and the kids and students they came in here after school, after primary school, middle schools, and they came in here and learn some English. By the way, this place is actually very amazing. We teach English in uh, different with other. We are teaching English in different ways. Comparing to others, we're more flexible and more interesting, of course. Yeah, yeah, night job costs fat game. I don't like work late night job. I just work normal night job. It's 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. things like that. So it's not very. I don't think it's a very big problem. But thanks for caring. Hospital. I need to finish it. I've been taking this too long. All right. The reason why I think you should ask your Chinese friend to be with you is because they are more familiar with how the system really works. It's very hard to describe how a hospital works in China because I don't really have that experience to went through all the perspective. However, I can I can tell you a little bit about it. All right. Once you head into the hospital, the first thing you need to do is go into the first floor and get into the line. All right. So uh, you're gonna describe what kind of disease you're having, what kind of feeling you're having. So the doctors in the first floor, they're gonna tell you which doctor, which room you have to go. So what kind of doctor you need to see. Then you go to see the doctor. Still, you need to get into the line. You when you hit into the hospital, you're gonna find incredibly amount of people. All right, there's a lot of people in the hospital every day. So I think just being messing around. I think doctor in China is a very difficult job to do. So don't really have any break times or something, and there's patients all over all the time. So I think it's a very hard work to be a doctor in China. Maybe it's a hard work for to be a China, be a doctor everywhere. I don't really know, but this is how it is. So you still need to get into the line, and when it's your turn, the doctor gonna take a look at you and give you suggestions of medicines. Some of the medicines you can just purchase them in the hospitals, and you go to the first floor, or I don't know where, buy this hospital, buy this medicines, you know, and then leave. That's the normal way. Well, in China, we work it in different way. We pay, we just handing over a little bit of our money to the government, I believe, and they save it for us. And then when we retire, they're gonna give the money back monthly until we die. I think that's how it works in China because my mom works in the government. But it might be a little bit different. Maybe you handing in something, but the main idea is to, you know, in China, retirement age for men is 62 or to 65 years old. For female, that's 55 years old to 55 years old to 60 years old. That means you can choose to retire, between these two age. You can retire in 55 or 60 years, things like that. Young lady, that's how real life is. That's the real world. Ask anywhere. That's how it works. Do you know what age that Japanese gonna retire? That will be 70 or 75 years old. That's the whole life, all right? You want fun? Yeah, everybody wants fun. You can have your fun in your age, but I mean you can't rely on your family forever. You gotta work and make your own money someday, right? Of course, if you are good enough or if you are talented enough, you can you can do whatever you like. In the meantime, making money out of it. I always want to be like a game streamer. I just can never do because even though I love playing video games, I'm not good at it. All right, so I can't make money out of this. So that's of course if you're really talented or good enough, you can do what you want to do. Well, it depends. You know, you see all these kids who's doing movies like they're 7 or 8 years old and they make millions. I'm 23. I'm making 3,000 per month. Yeah, that's really depends, and I think a little bit of luck. Yeah. So good luck, and whatever you're doing your best way, right? Well, that for real for normal person, that depends. How do what how much money you make, then you can consider yourself as wealth, like a million dollars, or there have to be a standards in here. You don't work, you will someday. Seriously, your family can't support you forever. That's how it works. That's how it works. You have to embrace that very quickly because if you keep living in your fantasies, and yeah, well, it doesn't work. When you need to go to work, you have to work. That's how it is. Which, I'm sorry, but that's how reality is. That is reality. I don't know, man. But yeah, all right. Let's consider this. Um, well, look at this world. Me Too situation is going on. The feminism. There's all these women around the world that are fighting for your rights to get your equal payment, equal salaries, equal rights. I mean, you have to support yourself. So you're a girl. So what? So does that give you some sort of specialty so you don't have to work? Maybe you can find like a extreme rich, you know. Well, that's been ridiculous. That doesn't work, really. All right. Think about things in this way, okay? You have to face it. You gotta work someday, or you can't just keep living in your fantasized world. It just doesn't work. But it could be tough at the beginning, but you have to believe that life gonna treat you better after you making major decisions, making major changes in your life. All right, the good things will happen to you, right? I personally didn't get married. I don't really, but I don't know which country you're living in. But most of the country, when you get married, of course, if you got married and you got divorced, you can get half of your husband's things. That's how it is. Yeah, I can. I have that right. I just didn't find the right girl in my life. That's how it is. And of course, I'm fat. I should lose some weight to change girls, right? All right, let's finish this hospital things. All right. So I have to. I actually gotta do this. I have to finish this sentence. So my suggestion is, if you have any disease problems, then go to the hospital. Then you need to go to the hospital. Then go with your friend. Ask a Chinese friend to be with you because he or she can describe what's physically your disease to the Chinese doctor, so they can understand. They can make the judgment. And oh yeah, speaking of which, I have to one thing we have to I have to tell you guys, if you have emergencies in China, like you see crime or something, well, you need to call the police. In China, the police number is 110. It's not 911 or something else. It's 110. All right. In mainland, it's 110, and the fire alarm, the fire number is 911. No, no, sorry, 119. I just getting messed up. Sorry, it's 119 for fire alarm, and for the hospital it says 120. You should write that thing down. In case you're gonna need it, because it will not work to call 911 in China. It doesn't work. So if you hit emergency, if you need any help, just call these three numbers and someone will help you. All right. I believe most of the Chinese police, the people who pick up the phones, they can speak English, so there's nothing to worry about. Uh, these are the little tips I think uh, you guys going to need in China. Let's count them down. Then first, you need to learn some basic minor uh, Chinese sentence like hello. Using Chinese says 你好, hello, 你好. When you need to say hello to someone, just say 你好. Then it's thank you. Thank you. In Chinese, that's 谢谢. 谢谢. So when you need to say thank you to someone, just say 谢谢你. That means thank you. Well, that's good luck to you. Somebody's Mark Zuckerberg. He built a website and he become a trillionaire. So I think that's based on your talented and a little bit of luck. Nobody can just easily succeed. There's always you know, these hard places that you need to work with, problems you need to solve. That's it. And then going to the restaurant, you're probably gonna use WeChat. So install WeChat before you came to China. Install a Chinese map app before you came to China. Possibly you're gonna need a good translation app when you came to China. So let's put that in mind. We basically do everything with our phone. We do our payment with our phone. We make orders with our phones. We don't really use cash or credit cards or debit cards in China. But if you want to, you still have that choice. I'm not saying you don't have that choice. You still have that choice. But in China, we normally don't do that. All right. Have a Chinese friend with you, so he can describe your disease very specifically to Chinese doctors, so they can give you the right medicine and make the judgment. And if you hit emergency, remember the three numbers. The police number is 110, 110, and the fire number is 119, and the number for the hospital is 120. All right, I think that's everything. Some little tips. It's not everything. It's some little tips that come to my mind that you might need. Basically, in China, we've been called as one of the most security country in the world. So I think there's no need for you guys to worry too much about getting robbed. It doesn't really happen in China, not in my not in my experience, I've never seen or heard anything happened in years. Last time I heard about robbery in the place I stayed, that was like 5 or 6 years ago. So even these kind of things happens, police can help you with forehand. So uh, if you want to travel to here, uh, do it. This is a place that worth you watching, what you see, worth your time seeing and traveling. We have different kind of food, fields. We have technically 58, 56 different kind of cultures mixed up together. We have many different languages, and we're all a very big family. You can see different, we have 5,000 years culture background. So there's a lot to see, a lot to experience, a lot to try. And if you're willing to work in here, we always welcome these talented foreigners come to our country and helping us. So uh, don't worry about anything. Do enough preparation and enjoy your time in China. All right, that's my two expensive words. If you guys have anything, any questions, you can ask me. I'm That's basically all I want to say, but I want to stay tuned. So if I remember anything, I can just keep saying it. So if anyone have any questions, you can ask me. All right. I think it is very. If you're having a life in here, like I say, foreigners always get more salaries than Chinese because we consider you guys as very talented person, and so by that meaning, I think you're gonna have a very good life in here. You know, I think that all depends like what exactly you're really chasing for. Have you heard that story that there's a Germany that traveled in here? I don't really remember his name. You know, uh, he he started from the he just no he traveled through the whole country. So it took him like 50 or 60 days to doing so, and he recorded it all the way, like with videos and write articles about it. What he's doing uh, doesn't really mean anything. I don't think anyone should. It's not necessary to like travel on foot, but if you're willing to do that, that's your choice. You can always do that in China, like anywhere else. Instead, we don't have a very. I don't think we have very cruelty like traditions in here. We're all very kindly. Most of Chinese are very kindly. If you say hello to someone, they're gonna say hello back. We Oh, another thing I might need to mention that if any one of you is smoking, uh, smoking cigarettes, don't do that in public area. We control that very seriously. We took that very seriously, and do not smoke in the hospital. I think that's the same in every country, but many don't smoke in public area. If you're having a dinner in a big room, like a lobby, don't smoke in there. Uh, the waiter gonna make you stop or just you know. I think they might call the police or something. I think I might need to defend my country, a little bit because uh, I can see all these medias in foreign countries, like you know some newspapers, they're just not telling the truth. They're telling how cruel this country is or whatsoever. I even heard this kind of conversation saying, I'll go travel everywhere except China. I think that's well, the lot is always all his. There's a lot to see in here. Just Beijing, the city alone, it got at least two or three places that you need to visit, and you're gonna be surprised. And the memory of that gonna stick in your head in your entire life. Just this place alone. All right. Beijing has the national stadium, which looks really brilliant and it's enormous. All right, you could never understand it until you're standing in it. I'm not even talking about standing outside looking at this schedule like stadium. I'm seriously means that you have to step into it and what see what's inside. You're gonna be truly surprised. And Tiananmen Square. All right, Tiananmen Square is one of the biggest. No, it is the biggest city square in the world. It can take you a long while from one side to another. You're gonna be very surprised. I'm telling you. And of course, the most famous and most known the Asian construction, the Great Wall. All right, the Great Wall is an ancient masterpiece. It's like a miracle. All right. So just this place alone, it has at least three different places that we're seeing, we're visiting. I'm not even talking about the food in here. All right. So where I am in Nantong. Even Nantong, this place, have many things to talk about. I might talk about it in my next live stream. I think I might need to take a break or something. If anyone have any questions, you can ask me now. All right. So I'm here, but I'm going to have a sip of my water. Have anyone of you have done live stream before? You see, if anyone have ever done it, you can understand how I'm not saying bad. I'm not saying hard or something. Just a little bit exhausted. My voice is getting. Is my voice is sounds weird now? I don't know. So let's see. I think it's very when you coming in China, it's gonna be very easy for you to find your own group. You know, even though there are a lot of foreigners working here, most of them do they have this little community or something. Also, try to make friends with Chinese. Most of us are very kind, very gentle. Mm, but if you're trying to learn Chinese, learning Chinese, to be fair, is a very to be fair is a very I think it's very difficult. It's way more difficult than learning English, but it's worth trying because we are the second big economy here. So you can assume that a lot of people are learning speaking Chinese now. Uh, you know, we have global impact. So okay, um, I think I need to take a break and let's just Any here? All right. I come back later. Is any here?